to the Who Dat Nation, and welcome to the Dome Patrol podcast, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints here on the KB Radio Network. We have arrived to week 2 of the NFL preseason for the year 2023. And how is the Who Dat Nation doing today? I've been feeling good coming off of that victory in our preseason opener against the Kansas City Chiefs when the New Orleans Saints defeated the Chiefs 26-24 in a comeback last second field goal victory. Yeah, you know, it's preseason. These games don't matter, blah, 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 but it still feels good when the Saints win. I don't care if it's practice, preseason, or a regular season game. It feels good when the Saints come away with a victory, and in an impressive fashion, might I say. Aside from our third and fourth string players who didn't look really good, starting that second half, but you could tell through the progression of the second half that they were getting a little better. They were getting their feet under them, and that was encouraging. And so they got better. But it's still a lot of work to be done. But that's deep down the roster. Just evaluating our starters, I feel confident. If fingers crossed, knock on wood, say a prayer that our starters stay healthy, I think we're in good shape. That leads us to why we are here today. We're here to preview the Saints' upcoming game against the Chargers this Sunday, 6 o'clock on NFL Network, and I believe here in New Orleans it's going to be on Fox as well. And this is a test. This was also going to be a big test to see where our team is. The Saints traveled to Los Angeles on Thursday, I think Wednesday or Thursday, and they are holding joint practices with the Chargers leading up to the game on Sunday. And this is a big help for the team. The Chargers are a real good team. The Chargers just have the unfortunate luck to be in the same division as the Chiefs. The Chargers have a quality quarterback who just got paid. Justin Herbert, I believe he's the highest paid player in the league right now. Currently, that's until Joe Burrow gets his contract. But he is a real good quarterback, and he has one of the best receiving cores in football. And so this would be a test for our secondary, for our defense to line up against, to really learn from it. That's why I'm more excited for the joint practices than I am for the actual game, because iron sharpens iron. And so if you keep going up against this high-powered offense for a couple of days and in an actual game setting on Sunday, that can do nothing but help the Saints. And so not only on that aspect, but you flip it. The defense for the Chargers is pretty good as well. They got two of the best players in football defensively with Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. And so they have some talent on that team. Is for our offense to go head-to-head against. So we're going to break down a couple of things leading into this game. But first, let's break down some of the transactions that has taken place since the last time we talked, beginning with the injury to our rookie running back, Kendrick Miller. As we all know, he sprung his knee during Sunday's game against the Chiefs, and it was kind of worrisome. Coming out of that game, nobody knew exactly what the injury was or how severe the injury was. He went for his MRI, and thankfully, he's not expected to miss an extensive amount of time. A source said the injury was not considered severe, and Miller could be on track to begin in the regular season. Dennis Allen said the injury was on the right knee, which is the same knee Kendrick Miller injured during the Fiesta Bowl when he played for TCU in December. He did not fully participate in practice until training camp opened up because of that injury. Now, the NFL Network first reported that Kendrick Miller's injury wasn't considered severe. Kendrick Miller is currently the number 3 running back behind Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams. Although, if healthy, he would likely assume the backup position for the first 3 games of the season. We all know that Alvin Kamara would not be playing in those first 3 games due to the suspension that he received for violating the NFL's personal conduct policy. The Saints did host Kareem Hunt a couple of weeks ago, or maybe last week, whenever it was, but that didn't work out. But I think the Saints found a diamond in the rough kind of with Ellis Merriweather that did pretty good Sunday. I never heard of Ellis Merriweather until the game this past Sunday. So it was kind of a shock, like, who is that? But he did a pretty decent job. Not saying that he's going to push anybody for their position on the depth chart, but he held his own. So the Saints were still in search of a running back, for depth purposes, if anything else. And after a workout with the Saints on Monday, the Saints and running back Darrell Williams agreed to terms. And Darrell Williams is now a New Orleans Saints. Darrell Williams, a local product. I think he's from Marrero, if I'm not mistaken. Went to LSU, played for the Kansas City Chiefs, won a Super Bowl with the Chiefs, and had a decent stint over there in Kansas City. With Williams coming on board, this signing adds more stable depth to the running back rotation. This addition helps somewhat cover the handful of off-season injuries the Saints have accumulated. Eno Benjamin, he went down with that Achilles injury. He's out for the season. And Kurt Merrick, who's also another hometown hero, he's nursing a hamstring injury. It was just insult to injury when Kendrick Miller went down with that sprained knee. So Williams, who was a standout back for 4 years over at LSU, now joins a growing roster of Louisiana homegrown talent to play for the Saints. And this is something that we didn't get for years. I don't know what it was with Sean Payton. He did not draft or sign any local Louisiana talent to the team. I don't know what it was. But as it stands right now, you have the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu, tight end Forrest Moreau, Malcolm Roach, who is a defensive tackle, Kurt Merrick, like I said before, and now Darrell Williams. Darrell Williams has the talent to make the cut. He's 28 years old. He's listed at 5'11", 219 pounds, and he is versatile. He's very productive as a receiver. He doesn't have a big, he didn't have a big role last year with the Cardinals. He only had 25 touches for 111 yards, scrimmage yards, that is. But he was more productive in a better offense with the Chiefs. He raked up over 1,000 rushing yards and almost 800 receiving yards in 4 years with Kansas City. He scored 15 combined touchdowns as a runner and a receiver. In 2021, he elevated with 558 rushing yards plus 6 touchdowns rushing the ball, and 452 receiving yards with a pair of touchdowns as well. At the height of the running back rotation is a healthy Alvin Kamara and Jamal Williams. But with Kamara being out the first 3 games, the Saints need to add some help for Jamal Williams. The Williams and Williams rotation will bring some excitement in the backfield. You know what I'm saying? I think they're both pretty similar in talent, but it's good to have fresh legs coming in and out the game. So I'm very encouraged by this signing. To make room for him on a roster, the Saints cut James Washington, who a wide receiver who played with Dallas last year. I didn't think he was going to make the team anyway. He, I didn't. I had no hopes that he was going to make the team or play a factor in any shape, form, or fashion. I wish him well wherever he ends up, but he might end up back here. Who knows? But that was the move that was made this week. So let's jump into this game against the LA Chargers, and let's talk about these matchups, not only in the game but in practice, and what battles to pay attention to. I hinted to it earlier. The Saints defensive backs versus the Chargers wide receivers. The Chargers possess one of the best wide receiving core in the NFL. The Saints would like to say the same thing about their defensive backs as well, which I can honestly say this is one of the best secondaries in football. If not all around defense. I'm not saying we are the steel curtain or anything. I'm not even going to go back and say we're the Dome Patrol, but shout out. But this is one of the best defenses in the league. On paper, let's just say that on paper is one of the best. And this is a premier matchup this week. The Chargers, they have Keenan Allen, Mike Williams, Joshua Palmer, and they just drafted their first round pick, Quentin Johnson. This is a deep core here, very talented wide receiving core. The Saints, on the other hand, in our secondary, Marshawn Lattimore, Paulson Adebo, Bradley Roby, Alante Taylor. I mean, this is going to be a battle. Those players will face off against one another on the line of scrimmage. Let's not forget, let's not forget about the duel of Marcus May and the Honey Badger, Tyrann Mathieu. They have played well in camp too. So this is a tough task for both units. But be on the lookout to see who wins this battle every day in training camp or in practice, should I say. Another matchup that to pay attention to is going to be our second-year offensive lineman, Trevor Penning. He's going up against Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack. This is going to be a test of wills, baby. He's going to have to pack his lunch this week. You can make the argument to include Ryan Ramczyk in this matchup as well, but we already know what to expect from Ryan Ramczyk on the field. He's had his fair share of duels against elite pass rushers throughout his career, but Trevor Penning is going into his first season as a starter at left tackle. Being able to face defensive players of the caliber of Joey Bosa and Khalil Mack is invaluable experience at this point of his career. He's going to have to work. There are no plays off. There are no days off. There's nothing. You're going to have to work against these fools. They are the real deal. He's never been able to get the same amount of reps if those teams faced off in a preseason without joint practices, so throughout the week, he won't win all of the reps, but the hope is you start to see him adjust, different little nuances that he's going to see thrown at him from pass rushers. Penning has been excellent in run blocking, but this matchup would test his pass blocking skills and, one-on-one drills and team drills. So let's see how this all plays out. Another matchup will be our new quarterback Derek Carr against safety Darwin James or Darwin James, and they should know each other. You know, they should know each other. Derek Carr comes from this division. He played the Chargers twice a year when he was in Las Vegas, so he knows this matchup a little bit. But this is a matchup that will fly under the radar. But it has potential to be very entertaining. Many will highlight Carr versus Justin Herbert, but they're not on the field at the same time. Carr versus James will be the chess match. However, Carr has been excellent throughout camp. Had that impressive opening drive to last week's preseason game when he threw the touchdown pass against the Chiefs. He's looked perfect so far, but Carr's command of the offense and intelligence, I mean, it's been praised from all circles. And James is one of those safeties who's all over the field. He plays in all three levels of the defense, and he must be accounted for on each level. He'll play up on the line, he'll run, stop, and he can cover. He's a threat in rushing the passer as well, and playing in shallow and deep coverage. Darwin James is a beast at safety. Knowing where he is key for the Saints offense. So this battle of scheme and wits should make for an entertaining matchup this week. So those are your head-to-head matchups this week. Pay attention to. Let us not forget about our, in-team battles that we have. I mentioned the running backs. Who's going to be the one to back up Jabal Williams? Now that's a question. It wasn't a question last week, but it's a question this week. See, that just goes to show you how fast the tables can turn in the NFL. You never know who's going to get hurt, or anything. Anything can happen. You have that question mark. You have a question mark at tight end. That's an actual battle at tight end there. Jawan Johnson is the front runner. He's had an excellent camp, but he's being pushed by, believe it or not, Jimmy Graham. Jimmy Graham is playing his way onto the roster. And I didn't think, when they signed Jimmy Graham, I thought Jimmy Graham was just going to be a camp body. But he is day to day in camp becoming a factor, so we shall see. We'll see how that go. Receivers isn't so much of a battle there. Defensively, I need to see more from Forsky. I know Forsky was hurt earlier. He was in the game Sunday, and he did absolutely nothing. I didn't even notice he was in the game. I saw our first overall pick, Preseason, make an impact, but that's about it. Of course, the secondary. Our battle between Paulson Adebo and Alante Taylor. That's still an ongoing thing. So keep a lookout for those individual battles within the battles. So this is going to be a fun game to watch. Two high-powered offenses, two solid defenses. It should be an interesting first quarter at the very least. I don't know how long the starters are going to play in this game. This is the second preseason game. Normally, it's the first half for the starters. Normally. But that could change, especially with the injury bugs lurking around. You don't want to tempt fate. So, 1 or 2 drives, maybe, and I would start yanking. But I don't know about a whole half. But who knows? Who knows? Maybe to get a rhythm or whatever. Especially in a game like this, because this is throughout the NFL. Everybody are holding joint practices. So you see what you need to see during practice. You really don't need to do it during the game. And so with that being said, if you don't see starters play this week, don't be shocked. They got their workout, this week when they were going head to head in practice. So we shall see. Either way it go, I don't care who's out there. I will be watching this Sunday at 6 o'clock on the NFL Network and Fox 8 here in New Orleans. We have the Saints traveling to Los Angeles to take on the Chargers in the second preseason game of the year. Our second to last, I guess you could say. There's only 3 preseason games now. Thank God. Thank God. I want to get right into the season, so 3 is the right amount. You should know what you have after 3 games. After a complete training camp in 3 games, you should know what you have. And so, are you excited for this game? I am. I'm excited to see not only the game throughout this week, hearing the reports coming out of camp, coming out of these practices, seeing who is winning what. This is a perfect test for the Saints. This is perfect. This is the gauge we need to see, because this is a playoff team, the Chargers I'm speaking of. A quality team. They're just in a division where it looks like they're not as good as they are, but they are that good. They are truly that good. And so this will be the gauge. I want to know, how do you feel about this game? What matchups are you looking forward to? Let me know by email, kbradiopodcast@gmail.com. You can also look me up on all social media platforms. Just look up the KB Radio Network. Don't forget about YouTube. We are on YouTube. Look for the KB Radio Network channel on YouTube. Subscribe to the channel and give this video a like, as well as the 5 stars, the reviews, and sharing this show. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, wherever you are currently listening to the Dome Patrol, your podcast for the New Orleans Saints on the KB Radio Network. Thank you for joining me for this preview of the Saints' second preseason game against the Chargers, coming up this Sunday night. Sunday night. Can't wait to watch the game. Can't wait to speak to you after the game. Until then, you can hear me screaming, "Who dat?"